Rita was only 15 when her world changed forever. She is a smart and intelligent girl, known for her good grades and aspirations. At 15, she was already preparing for her senior secondary final examination. But, in the small village where she lived, traditions are held strong, and the eldest daughter of the family had little say in her future. Rita's father, a respected elder, had arranged for her to marry a man twice her age. Despite her protest, her voice was drowned out by the community's expectations. Rita's heart sank as she realized that her dreams of becoming a teacher were slipping away. Her mother tried to console her, but even her mother's support seemed powerless against the weight of tradition. As the days passed, Rita's life became a center of wedding preparations. She was forced to abandon her school and spend hours learning how to prepare traditional dishes and how to behave as a wife. Rita felt trapped in a cage of her own making, with each new task serving as a reminder of the life she had to leave behind. Her dreams of becoming a teacher were replaced with dreams of escape, but every attempt seemed futile against the backdrop of her family's expectations. The wedding day arrived, and Rita's heart was heavy. She wore a beautiful but heavy dress, the kind that felt like it was made of chains rather than fabric. Her groom, Mr. Obina, was a serious-looking man who barely spoke to her. During the ceremony, Rita's mind wandered to her dreams of studying and exploring the world. The celebration around her felt like a whole, as if she were an outsider looking in. As the vows were exchanged, Rita's heart cried out for freedom, but she knew that the journey to reclaim her dreams was just beginning. Rita's new home was a far cry from the one she had grown up in. It was a small, modest house on the outskirts of the village. The space was tiny, and the responsibilities of maintaining a home seemed overwhelming. Rita struggled to adjust to her new role, feeling a profound sense of isolation. The walls of the house felt like they were closing in on her, and each day was a reminder of how far she was from her dreams. She missed her family, her friends, and the freedom she once took for granted. One day, tensions arose between Rita and Mr. Obina when she accidentally burned the evening meal. Mr. Obina's frustration was evident, and his harsh words cut deeply. Rita's confidence began to reduce, and she started doubting her own abilities. She felt increasingly like a failure and questioned if she would ever find a way to escape her new reality. Despite the difficulties, a small spark of hope lingered within her, igniting a desire to prove herself worthy of her dreams. Days turned into weeks, and Rita's life became a routine of household chores and social obligations. The more she tried to fit into her new role, the more she felt like she was losing herself. The village women were supportive but often spoke of her situation with pity rather than understanding. Rita's dreams of a different life seemed increasingly distant, but she began to find small ways to hold on to her sense of self, such as secretly reading old textbooks and journaling her thoughts. One evening, while Rita was cleaning, she got a letter from a distant relative who had once been a teacher. The letter spoke of courage and perseverance in the face of adversity. Inspired, Rita began to secretly study and work on her teaching skills. She found peace in the knowledge that someone from her family had once pursued a similar dream. This small discovery rekindled her hope and provided her with a renewed sense of purpose. One day, a visitor arrived at the house. She was Mr. Obina's elder sister and also a former teacher from Rita's village who had heard about her marriage. The teacher, Mrs. Adoma, offered kind words and encouragement. She noticed Rita's intelligence and potential, and they had a heartfelt conversation about Rita's aspirations. Mrs. Adoma's visit was a breath of fresh air for Rita, reminding her that there were still people who believed in her dreams. This interaction gave Rita a renewed sense of determination and a clearer vision of her path forward. As time went on, Rita began to notice a growing distance between her and Mr. Obina, her husband. While he adhered strictly to tradition, Rita's aspirations for education and self-growth clashed with his views. The arguments became more frequent, and Rita felt increasingly stifled. Her dreams and her reality seemed to be pulling her in opposite directions, creating an internal conflict that weighed heavily on her. Despite the tension, Rita's resolve to pursue her dreams only grew stronger. Rita began to secretly meet with Mrs. Adoma. These meetings provided her with guidance and resources for her self-education. She learned a lot about teaching and gathered materials that would help her in the future. Each meeting was a small victory, a step towards reclaiming her dreams and building a future outside the constraints of her current life. The support from Mrs. Adoma was a beacon of hope in her darkened world. Rita kept a hidden journal where she recorded her dreams, her frustrations, and her plans for the future. This journal became her sanctuary, a place where she could freely express her thoughts without fear of judgment. The act of writing helped her process her emotions and maintain her sense of self. It was a constant reminder of her aspirations and a source of comfort during the hardest days. The journal also served as a blueprint for her eventual escape and the life she hoped to build. After 2 years of being restricted in a marriage, Rita received an unexpected opportunity from Mrs. Adoma to tutor a few children in the village. This small job allowed her to use her teaching skills and gain a sense of accomplishment. It was a rare moment of joy and fulfillment amidst the constraints of her marriage. The children's eagerness to learn and their progress filled Rita with a renewed sense of purpose. This experience reinforced her belief that she could indeed make a difference and gave her the strength to continue pursuing her dreams. Rita's increasing involvement in tutoring and studying began to draw criticism from Mr. Obina and the village elders. They saw her pursuit as a challenge to traditional roles and expectations. Rita faced growing resistance and disapproval, which made her feel more isolated. Despite the backlash, she remained steadfast in her commitment to her dreams. Each criticism only fueled her determination to prove that she could achieve more than what was expected of her. As Rita's self-education and tutoring continued, she started to develop a plan for her future. She began to save money secretly and look for opportunities to write her final examinations and further her education. Her plan involved finding a way to leave the village and pursue her dream of becoming a teacher in a more supportive environment. The process was slow and fraught with challenges, but Rita's careful planning and persistence were vital in setting the foundation for her eventual escape. Rita's efforts began to attract the attention of other supportive individuals in the village. Some women who had also faced the struggles of living their life to please the tradition supported her. They provided Rita with practical advice, resources, and emotional support. This growing network of supporters helped her feel less alone and more empowered. Despite the progress Rita made, there were moments when doubt crept in. She questioned whether her dreams were worth the sacrifices she was making and whether she would ever be able to break free. These moments of vulnerability were challenging, but Rita found strength in her journal and the support of her new friends. Each time she doubted herself, she reminded herself of the reasons she started and the goals she hoped to achieve. As Rita's plan took shape, she knew that leaving would mean saying goodbye to her marriage, family and friends, at least for now. She wrote heartfelt letters to them, explaining her decision and her hope for a better future. The letters were a way to express her love and appreciation for their support while also preparing them for her departure. The day arrived when Rita had to make a final decision about her future. She carefully reviewed her plans, her savings, and her support system. Despite the fear and uncertainty, she felt a deep sense of peace. The choice to leave was not easy, but it was necessary for her to pursue her dreams and build a life she could be proud of. With a heavy heart but a determined spirit, Rita prepared for the next chapter of her journey. Her escape required proper planning to avoid being caught. She secretly packed her belongings and arranged for a trusted friend to help her leave the village. The night before her departure, she felt a mixture of excitement and fear. The next morning she sent her letters to their different destinations and also left for her husband. The moment she stepped out of her home and into the unknown, a wave of relief and apprehension washed over her. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Rita's determination to forge a new path was unwavering. After 1 hour of riding in the dark, Rita arrived in a nearby town, where she hoped to find new opportunities. The town was larger and more diverse compared to the small village she had left behind. She felt a sense of liberation but also faced the challenges of starting over. Even as a young adult, she found a temporary place to stay to prepare for her final examinations and began searching for work and other educational opportunities. Rita's new life in the bustling town began with small but significant steps. She secured a modest job at a small grocery shop, which allowed her to earn just enough to cover her basic needs. In the evenings, she dedicated herself to studying, preparing tirelessly for her upcoming final examinations. The town was a place of new beginnings, filled with the promise of independence and the freedom to pursue her dreams. Although the weight of loneliness sometimes crept in, the drive to fulfill her aspirations kept her spirits high. As weeks turned into months, Rita became close with a group of young women at a local community center. They were also striving for education and professional opportunities, despite the societal pressures they faced. For the first time, Rita found herself among people who shared her dreams and struggles. They encouraged each other, exchanged study materials, and shared advice on overcoming barriers. This newfound sisterhood became her anchor, reminding her that she was not alone in her pursuit of freedom and growth. One of the women, Fatima, introduced Rita to a local charity that provided scholarships and mentorship for young women seeking to complete their education. The idea of receiving formal support both excited and terrified her, but with encouragement from her friends, she applied for the scholarship. To her surprise and joy, she was accepted. The scholarship covered her examination fees and provided her with a mentor, Miss Lady, a former teacher who had been advocating for women's education for years. Miss Lady was more than just a mentor, she was a source of strength and guidance. During their meetings, she encouraged Rita to believe in her own potential, advising her on how to focus her studies and manage her finances. Miss Lady's unwavering belief in her abilities fueled Rita's determination to succeed. She even helped Rita secure a part-time position at a local primary school, where she could gain teaching experience. Standing in front of her first class, Rita felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. This was her dream, finally coming to life, piece by piece. The journey, however, was not without its challenges. Rita often received letters from her village, some from family members who missed her, and others from villagers who condemned her decision to leave. Each letter reminded her of the sacrifices she had made and the relationships she had left behind. But rather than feeling guilt, Rita found herself reflecting on how much she had grown since then. She realized that her journey was no longer just about breaking free from tradition but about creating a path forward for herself and perhaps for other young girls who faced similar struggles. Months later, Rita sat for her final exams. The relief and pride she felt were immeasurable as she handed in her last paper. Passing these exams was more than just an academic accomplishment, it was a testament to her resilience and courage. And in just a few months, the results came out and she passed with flying colors and was now qualified to continue her studies or pursue a teaching career. But she chose to pursue both. She will be teaching while furthering her education in the nearby university. With her credentials in hand, Rita was offered a permanent teaching position at the primary school. Her dream of educating young minds had finally become a reality. Each day in the classroom, she taught with a passion born from her own experiences, inspiring her students to dream beyond the limitations society placed upon them. She often shared her story, encouraging them to believe in their own potential and to never give up on their aspirations, no matter the obstacles. Years later, Rita became a respected figure in the community, known not only for her teaching but for her role in advocating for girls' education. She established a foundation that provided scholarships and resources for young women from villages across the region, giving them the opportunity to pursue education and independence. Her journey from a small, tradition-bound village to a life of empowerment had come full circle. Rita did not only break free from the chains of societal expectations but also made a path for others to follow. Through her courage and resilience, she became a symbol of hope, a reminder that the courage to pursue one's dreams has the power to change lives. From her age till now, education became a right for female children without restrictions from traditions or society. If you were in Rita's shoes, what would you have done? Tell us in the comment section. Remember to like and subscribe for more. Thank you.